Hey, what's going on, Wealthy Legacy Journeyers? Welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey, the show where we talk about building wealth on purpose for a purpose. I'm your host, Kendell Leiden, and the title of today's episode is Churn to Burn Ratio. And this is going to be about how we created cash flow, my family, for our lives, and we created freedom in our lives and what that felt like, how we got there, what was the mindset steps, what do we have to figure out in order to make that happen. Before I get too deep into the churn to burn ratio, though, I want to share with you a scripture verse from the Bible that was impactful to me, kind of foundational to this whole idea. It's Proverbs 21:20. There is precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up. And the reason that I start off sharing a scripture verse is because I feel like so many people feel that it have this mindset that it's good to be broke and it's bad to have money. And I would argue that even the Bible says that there is precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up. Now, I would ask you, do you think that God calls you as a Christian to be foolish or wise? Wise, right? So if you are wise, therefore it says there is, not there might be, but there is precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise. Do you think that just happens by accident? No, it happens by figuring out things just like the churn to burn ratio that we're going to be talking about today. So, with that little intro spiel there from me, I am going to go ahead and share my screen here, cut off my recording so that way it doesn't lag too bad. And let's see here. Turn off the video and perfect. So now you guys should be looking at my screen, looking at the churn to burn ratio. And I'm going to try to help. Let's see, full screen. I think it's that button right there. Perfect. You should be able to see everything just like I'm seeing it full screen. No distractions there. So let's look at the churn to burn ratio. Now, on the left side here, let's just kind of start over here. Okay. That represents your churn. So these big, thick green arrows, those represent your different income streams. Now, we really focus on three out of the four income streams here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey. So the four are active income, trading your time for money, active investment income, trading your time and money for money, passive investment income, trading your money for money, and finally, passive income, which is just trading nothing for money. So active income, trading your time for money is typically your job, right? Active investment income, passive investment income, both similar, but active investment has you playing an active role consistently over time to be able to accrue those. Typically, that's more of like capital gains. They happen quicker over time. Whereas passive investment income, that is more of a trading your money for money. It's more of a long-term hold. It would be like a rental managed by a rental management company or holding stocks that pay out dividends. You kind of just plug your money in, you let it run, and you get paid out over time. So that's kind of the difference between those two. Passive income is more of like receiving a pension check or receiving Social Security money. You're not doing anything at this current time to be able to trade for that money. You're just receiving it. And, big news alert is that a lot of people think that all of those types of income are going to disappear. So, they're really the three types of income that we focus on more than anything else is our active investment and passive investment. I would write those here, but it seems to be pretty laggy at this exact moment. So then we put that money in and we roll it and we roll it and we roll it. And that's how we create a churn. Now, the other side of this churn to burn ratio is obviously the burn side. And this is money that we have, and that money goes out to never come back. So it just gets burned, right? We pay for our lights, we pay for our, electricity, we pay for gas, we pay for propane for the house, we pay the mortgage, we pay, all these different things, gas for the car, right? Maintenance for the car, we pay for food, right? You're not buying something that's going to be able to produce income for you back. You're just putting money out into the world to never receive it back. And so it's very important to understand what is the ratio between what you bring in on this side, your churn, to the ratio of what you send back out on this side, your burn. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story here from my life about how I learned this investment principle originally. So when my wife and I first got married, we made like 10,000, 15,000. I think it was like $13,000 or something like that exactly, somewhere in there. The first year that we were married. And so our churn was extremely low. We were spending everything we had. We didn't even make enough money to be able to afford credit cards. And so our churn to burn ratio was 1. Like if we made let's see, I think I said it was like 13K. If we made 13K per year, we were burning through 13K per year, which is not much money, seeing as how we just got married a few years ago. And so like it was God math about how we even survived every single month. But our churn to burn ratio in that case at 13K coming in, 13K going out would be 1, because you have $13,000 divided by $13,000 gives you 1, right? So we have a churn to burn ratio of 1. Now, over time, as I realized I've got to make more money for my family, right? I think a lot of us come to that realization over time, and we kind of come to that realization over and over. What happened was the income started to go up. So let's say the next year, I can't remember what the exact number was, but let's say the next year we made $20,000 that year. Now, the previous year, we had found a way to survive off of $13,000. But do you think that the next year we survived off of $13,000? Like, no, we didn't. What happened is we increased our lifestyle. So now we made $20,000, which was great. We had a pay bump, but we also spent $20,000. And so it came out to changing our churn to burn ratio 0. It made no difference for us whatsoever. So even though it felt better, we were able to buy more stuff, we weren't actually able to get ahead. So then fast forward a couple years, I'm now flipping houses. Things are going great. Life is good at this point. We were making probably somewhere in the ballpark of about $8,000 a year, maybe 9,000, somewhere around $100,000, or excuse me, $8,000 a year, $8,000 per month, 8 to 9. We're making about $100,000 per year, and so we're doing great. So now $8,000 per month. Oh my goodness, this thing is just not wanting to write for me right now. I'm so sorry. $8,000 per month. But do you think that, here, if we were spending like $20,000 a year, that was about $1,500 per month, give or take, that we were spending. Do you think we continued to maintain that ratio of that burn rate? No, we didn't. We continued to increase our lifestyle expenses once again, right? And now we went from the poor money mindset to the middle class money mindset. So let me draw this out right quick, and then let's talk about the money mindsets from Myron Golden. So Myron Golden says that the poor money mindset is believing that the primary purpose of money is to pay your bills. Now, whenever we were at that point of being broke, that was definitely us. The middle class money mindset is the primary purpose of money is to pay your bills on time so you can maintain good credit. Now, this became true for me because at this point, we got a credit card, we got a truck, and we were looking at building our credit so we could buy a house. And so we were making all these payments on time and just keeping up with our lifestyle so that way we could build good credit to be able to consume more and more and more and more. If you don't remember what the Bible says about debt, it says that the borrower is slave to the lender, and we definitely felt that slavery. So then at a point, we must have been making a little bit extra, and I honestly can't remember the exact numbers because at one point we did have some extra cash from flipping houses. So our churn rate must have sped up, even though our burn rate did not. So let's just say that our churn rate increased up to, if I'm thinking about it, probably like $15,000 a month sounds about right. And so all of a sudden, now we were at this place where we were making about $15,000 a month. We were only spending 8. So now our churn to burn ratio went up to 1.875. Now, what's the great part about being at a churn rate above 1? Well, everything on the right side of the decimal, everything greater than 1, actually, because you could have one of 2 or 3 or 4, right? But everything right here, everything greater than 1, this is money that I got to set aside into savings and investments. So we were going to then be able to go from not just having this active income stream over here, but how could we increase our income by bringing in this new income stream from an active investment type income? That was kind of the question that we were looking at this point. Here's the problem that I made. Instead of trying to just increase by adding in another income stream, I said, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to build this company. So what did I do at that point? Well, I said, and I would highly recommend you guys don't do this because it was a crushing blow. I went from making $15,000 a month to making 0,000 per month, spending $8,000 per month. And if you guys know anything about math, anything divided by 0 is 0. So 0 divided by 8, let's see, what could it be, is 0. So now all of a sudden our churn to burn ratio went to 0. And so basically we had this pot of savings. A lot of people who retire deal with this same issue. You have this bucket of savings and it's only going to be able to last you so long. Now, young, foolish Kendall didn't even think about decreasing this number. Like, that idea of decreasing my burn rate never came to my mind because I really enjoyed my lifestyle. So I was like, I'm just going to do this faster than I'm going to run out of money. That was kind of my game plan. And I'll tell you right now, that game plan didn't work. But did I learn from it the first time? No, I did not. I went ahead and did the exact same thing a second time. So the first time I was trying to build a company called My Home Option. The second time I was working to build a stock market algorithm. That second time around, we had lowered our life expenses down to about $5,000 per month when we finally had to, because we were worried about losing the truck and the house and all that kind of stuff. And so we had lowered it to $5,000 per month. But I knew several investors that helped me get back into some JV deals. And it wasn't too long until we were back in the money, making money again. Years before this, when I was just making a couple $1,000s per month, I was working at a marble and granite shop. I had built relationships over time as an investor that allowed me to get back into the game quickly. Like, this didn't just happen by chance. This was relationships that I had built over time. So now we were back to a point where I was earning about $20,000 per month. We were spending about $5,000 per month. Our churn to burn ratio was now at this time 4. So for every month that I worked, I created about 4 months worth of income at our current burn rate. Now that felt absolutely amazing, right? To be at this place where you had a churn to burn well greater than 1, greater than 2, at 4, it felt like we had money pouring in. Now here's something that I want to tell you guys though. If your household income is $8,000 per month, right? If you're over here at $8K per month, if it will stop lagging for me. I don't know why it chooses to lag sometimes and it chooses to not lag other times. I wish I had the answer to that. So if you're at $8,000 per month, right, and your burn ratio, you could get it down to 2K per month. Well, then you also would be at churn to burn ratio of 4. Now, I understand it's going to be really hard to get down to $2,000 a month worth of expenses, but could you get down to 4? Would $4,000 per month be a reasonable goal to set if you're making $8,000 a month as a family? Could you get your churn to burn ratio to 2? So it's not necessarily about how much money you're bringing in or how much money you're spending. It's more about the ratio of money in divided by money out. Is your churn to burn ratio greater than 1? How much greater than 1 is it? Is it less than 1, right? Because if you start a business like I did, where you completely cut off all of the streams of income and you turn your churn to burn ratio down to 0, that's going to be really, really bad. We had then fluffed up at this scenario. Let me erase all this because I'm going to continue my story here. This is when we were building the second company. Things were going great. We're making $20,000 a month. We had increased our income to round about $10,000 per month. And so we had taken this churn to burn of 4 and actually turned it into a churn to burn of 2, which still felt absolutely amazing. And I didn't really understand about taking your money to buy assets and all that kind of stuff. I was just having fun, making a bunch of money, spending a bunch of money. It was great. I then branched out to start another company again, and I did the exact same thing where I turned this $20,000 a month into 0 per month, and it was not very good. The ship sunk within a year, and I had to go back. So when I went back to my investor group, the only opportunities that I could find was as an employee. I did get some JV opportunities as we went along, but out of the gate, I found an opportunity to be an employee. And I told them, I said, hey, look, I just need $10,000 a month to live. And they were like, we don't pay any, like, I understand that you've made a lot of money before, but, somebody that's in this role, the most that we pay is $8,000. It was a little bit more than $8,000 per month, but for easy math, we'll say $8,000 per month. Well, now I was in a real problem because my burn rate was $10,000 a month. My churn rate was $8,000 per month. So let's see, 8,000 divided by 10,000. Well, oh crap. That puts me at a churn to burn ratio less than 1. That puts me at a churn to burn ratio of 0.8. Now, what's dangerous about this territory? Well, for every month that I remember before when I said I was making 20,000, spending 5, that means for every month that I worked, I was building up 4 months of income. Well, in this case, for every month that I work, I have 0.8 months worth of income. That means I'm upside down every single month. So even though I was making $8,000 per month by myself, which seems like pretty good income, I felt like I was drowning because of the level of my expenses, because my churn to burn ratio was near or below 1. So what we did is slowly over time, we cut those expenses down over and over and over. And at a certain point, I also had a pay cut. And so now that brings us to today, where I'm proud to announce after several very painful life transitions, we are now at a place where we bring in, what is it? We bring in, gotta do the math here, roughly $5,800 per month. And our burn rate is roughly now, after several transitions, down over and over, selling the truck. We now sold our house, bought, we took the equity, we bought a fifth wheel cash. We really lowered our life expenses, done some painful stuff in order to get there, but we are now spending $3,000 per month. And our new churn to burn ratio is now, I'm proud to say, roundabout 1.9, give or take. So now we're almost to a churn to burn ratio of 2, and it feels amazing. We feel rich again in some ways. I mean, obviously making $5,800 a month, you're not like king of the world, but I can tell you this, I sleep so good at night knowing that I make about double what I need to survive. It didn't have so much to do with how much money I was making. It had to do, and it really didn't have to do with how much money I was spending. It had to do with what the ratio between these two are. Because let's look at this example. Let's start with the burn rate first. Let's say that you're somebody, you really like to live an extravagant lifestyle. And let's just say, and I know this number is going to sound maybe a little bit crazy, but let's just say your burn rate is $20,000 per month. You're going through $20,000 per month of expenses. You might be like, oh my gosh, that person's bound to be broke. Well, I tell you this, if they're making $10,000 per month, yeah, they're very quickly going broke. But if their income is $100,000 per month, well, no. At $10,000 per month, their churn to burn ratio would be 0.5. At $100,000 per month, their churn to burn ratio would be 5. For every month that they work, they're creating 5 months worth of income. And so what I want you guys to really realize, and I would challenge you to go now assess your own bills, and you can do this inside of the Wealth Health Checkup. In one of the sections of the Wealth Health Checkup, it really goes over the cash flow, right? And this churn to burn ratio is essentially your cash flow pattern. And this is where you break down all of your incomes. So what is all the different streams of income you have and what do those add up to? What is all the streams of expenses out that you have and what do those come out to? And then take your income, divide them by your expenses and see how far away from one you are. The more above 1 you are, the better your life's going to feel. If you have a churn to burn ratio of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 plus, right? Life is going to feel amazing. The further away from 1 you get, the way better it's going to feel. The closer you get to 1, the more painful it's going to get if something comes up. If you are at or below 1, life is going to be so incredibly painful because you feel like you are absolutely drowning. It has, but I just, one more time, I want to say it again. It has very little to do with how much money you make. And it has very little to do with how much money you spend, independent of each other. It has everything to do with the relationship between the amount of money that you bring in and the amount of money that you send out. It's your churn to burn ratio. So take your income right over here, divide it by your expenses right over here and figure out what your churn to burn ratio is. Because if you ever hope to be able to build wealth, you're going to have to get a lot of extra money set aside So that way you can build up, Dave Ramsey would say first you build up an emergency fund, which I think is an absolutely great plan. If you've never gone through Financial Peace University, I don't get paid to say this, but I think it's a great program by Dave Ramsey just to help you get some financial acumen together, right? To get some good financial management tools put together. But then after that, then turn your focus to how do I take the extra income that I'm creating and turn it into investments. And so, guys, that right there is how I assessed and I built the churn to burn ratio for my family, got my family out of a very difficult financial situation, lowered my expenses from a peak of $10,000 per month. And we are now having financial expenses of $2,970 per month, right? We make about $5,000 per month. We have a cash flow of around 1.9, and we created $2,000 of cash flow this last month that we sent straight over to investments. Between money that we have coming in, money that we've saved up, built in the emergency fund, some investments that we've already done, and JV investments that I started working on a little over a year ago, at this point, we have about $50,000 of equity between real estate and stock market and cash. And by the end of the year, as some other investments pay out, we're hoping that we will be able to accrue about another $100,000 to be able to deploy in real estate and stocks, which will then give us roughly $100,000 to $150,000 true net worth to ourselves, owned by Kendell and Libby, and we will have officially broken through for the third time from 0 to 6 figures. I'm so excited for that point. We're getting closer and closer. We're making a lot of the right decisions, but the way that we're making the decisions is very similar to the way that you could make these decisions. And it's just looking at things just like this on the churn to burn ratio, going, how do I get my churn up? How do I get my income up? How do I get my expenses going down? How do I make that churn to burn ratio as great as possible, where I'm making a whole lot more money than I need to live every month in order to be able to build cash flow so I can get my financial situation in my life under control? I'm going to be honest with you guys, though. I've been struggling, like in the videos, not, but in person, I've been struggling to tell my story, because even though I know that I'm doing the right thing right now, like I'm getting my churn to burn ratio right, I'm getting stuff, corrected in my life, telling people in my life that I know that I just sold my house to move my family of 5 with 3 little kids under the age of 5 years old into a fifth wheel, people look at me like I'm crazy. And I know I'm not crazy, but I'll be honest with you guys, like having sold my truck, now sold my house, living on my parents' property in a fifth wheel, I feel ashamed. And even if I lived in a trailer park, I'd pay about the same amount, because I insisted that I pay rent, because I wasn't going to not pay rent. So we pay the same here that we would pay at a trailer park. You could do the same thing and you could move into a trailer park. It doesn't have to be that you move on to your family property. But I've struggled, and I think it's a cultural thing. And I'm just having to learn to go, I'm making sacrifices right now that are going to give me that long-term result that I'm looking for. I'm planting seeds in the ground right now that are going to bear the fruit, bear the trees, and that are going to end up bearing the fruit that I'm looking for in my life a couple years down the road. But it's hard. It's embarrassing. It feels shameful. But great sacrifice doesn't come without a cost. But often great sacrifice will give you great victory as well. So guys, let's close out today's episode by saying our identity mantra together once again. It's so crucial, so important to keep saying this over and over and over, to get this into your mind, to this become a way of thinking where you are not just a normal person out and about doing stuff, but you become a wealthy legacy journeyer. So our identity mantra is, I explore the unknown. Say it with me. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful, and my wake is a wealthy legacy. And as a reminder, guys, the way we define wealth here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey is the ability to cover your monthly expenses without having to lift a finger. And the way we define legacy is leaving a long-lasting impact on others who come after you as they receive the fruit of your labor, whether that fruit be good or bad. Plant good seeds, cultivate good trees, and ultimately bear good fruit. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you found the churn to burn ratio to be helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, really helps the algorithm to boost us up to the top. And make sure that you stay tuned for future videos. Just like next week, we are actually going to be talking about how do you go about building those multiple streams of income. With all that said, guys, this is another episode dedicated to you and your own personal wealthy legacy journey. Now, I challenge you to go out there and take the right next step this week, today, in fact. And I cannot wait to hear about your success stories. Make sure that you chat to me. Let me know what's going on. What are the wins that you're having? What are the mental breakthroughs that you're having? Let me know in the comments what's going right and how you are winning. I can't wait to hear about your success stories. I will see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.